St. John the Philosopher here, back with another car video. It's Groundhog Day, and the furry little underground meteorologist tells us that we're gonna have 6 more weeks of winter. And when I look at kind of the entertainment landscape, it feels as though we're in for another 6 seasons or 6 years or maybe even 6 decades of the same bullcrap over and over and over again. Now let me explain what I mean by that. You guys remember the movie Groundhog Day, right? It kind of has become synonymous with the holiday itself. The movie stars Bill Murray, and it's about a man who has to relive the same day over and over and over again until he learns something. And that day happens to be Groundhog Day, and he's stuck in Pennsylvania hanging out with Punxsutawney Phil. Okay, so it feels that like we're doing something similar in entertainment. You got all the remakes, reimaginings, and reboots that are going on in Hollywood, because it feels as though we're entering this the winter of our discontent here. Hollywood is bereft of creativity. Nobody wants to take a risk anymore, and they're not even good enough to make these remakes and reboots any good. They're not talented enough. They're not willing. They seem completely unable to do anything positive with whatever positive goodwill they're trying to glom off of these old properties that we all know and love. But we're still stuck with the same stuff. And what happens is we end up with a Groundhog Day of characters, a Groundhog Day of storylines, of plots, and it's all wrapped around a strange left-wing sort of agenda coming out of Hollywood. A social agenda intended to push certain messages. So what you end up with is predictable stories, predictable characters, predictable plot lines. And predictability makes it boring. Now let me tell you what I mean. If you are being sold an entertainment property and you're told that the main character is a strong female character, you have an image in your mind right now. You have a series of character traits in your head, and you're probably right. Every single one of those is probably on some level correct. We all have the same person in mind, and they're all horrible, and you're not going to enjoy yourself watching this person try to convince us that they're the bestest ever. If I told you there's a storyline with the strong female character, and she has a friend, a black male friend, you kind of have an image of in your mind of what that person is going to be like. They're probably effeminate, ineffectual, probably dotes on the main character, exists only to give a sort of sassy comeback for whoever the antagonist is. This person is not somebody you know, it's not somebody you like, and it's not somebody you want to watch. But that's the storyline. If I told you that there's a villain in this character, the antagonist of this piece, who stands against the strong female character and her effeminate black friend, you probably have an image in your mind. It's probably white, probably a strongly heterosexual male, probably a big dude who looks kind of alpha-ish, but he's also a raging buffoon, entitled up the wazoo, probably rich, and he's depicted entirely as a no-good character with no redeeming qualities whatsoever, or even an intellect capable of posing a challenge to our strong female character. This is it's one of those predictable aspects of storylines that keep recycling over and over and over again. You've seen it before. Now, there are some variations. Sometimes a strong female character is a minority. Sometimes she's a lesbian. Sometimes the sassy black friend is a masculine woman instead of an effeminate male. But it all kind of takes a similar glossed over feel to it, because narratively you're checked out from jump, and the only reason you're watching is because there doesn't seem to be anything else on. That's the Groundhog Day that we seem to be reliving over and over and over again with our entertainment. And, you know, it makes you want to try to escape. We need to escape this Groundhog Day. Now, don't go so as far as what Bill Murray did in the movie and jump in front of a bus or take a bath with a toaster. We're not trying to escape that way. If you remember correctly, and it's this way in all repeat day sort of scenarios here, for everything from Edge of Tomorrow, which I love. It's a great movie. I'm probably going to do a react video to that, or maybe even a deep dive on it, to a Happy Death Day, which is a horror comedy version of the Groundhog concept. The point of those stories is always that the main character has to learn something. They have to grow. They have to change. Whatever it was that is holding them back has to be eliminated from their lives. They have to take advantage of the situation that they are repeating that day over and over again and turn it to an advantage. So right now we're repeating our entertainment Groundhog Day over and over and over. We kind of want to drive a car off a cliff with Punxsutawney Phil at the wheel. But instead, why don't we learn? Why don't we take advantage of the fact that we know what's coming every single time? Let's gang up together and make sure that these people understand the type of entertainment we want, and the type of entertainment that they're giving us is not good enough. And maybe then we can kind of break the spell and get out of it. And I see hope. I see a glimmer of hope on the horizon. Now, there's a movie that my wife and I watched recently, or I should say a miniseries. It was an Amazon Prime original, produced and starred Emily Blunt. It's called The English. Now, you would think, with the setup here, that it would follow all the same tropes. But let me explain. It's set in the Old West during the Indian War days. You know, I use the term correctly. It's the Indian Wars, even though I know they're Native Americans, they're not Indians. But you would think that during that period, one of the focuses of the storyline would be singularly the fault of the Americans, the fault of the white man, as it were, in taking the land from the natives. Legitimate grievance that they have there. But this show, while it delves into that and it discusses, it shows us the grievances that the natives have, it doesn't shy away from the problems that the native population at the time had. Their wars against one another, the strange alliances they made with the American troops to try and destroy their enemies, the brutality with which both sides fought that war. It didn't shy away from any of it. There was even a native main character. He was basically the co-star of the movie along with Emily Blunt, and they could have turned that into one preachy statement after another, but he was a very, very interesting character with a very interesting perspective on what was going on at the time. And I was engaged the entire time. Emily Blunt's character, a noble Englishwoman who'd come out to the Old West to get revenge for the death of her son. She could have been the quote-unquote strong female character that we've come to know and hate in all of other entertainment. But she was actually strong, and she was actually very feminine. And her strength had a feminine air to it. And there were many parts of it where she was a bad girl. She was doing her thing. She was putting bullets between eyes and knifing people in the gut. It was awesome. But it wasn't the same type of bullcrap that we've been seeing in the movies. You know, she wasn't taking on six heavily armed, 6 foot, 200 some odd pound goons at a time, just being the bestest fighter ever for no good reason. No, she was doing her thing in a realistic way, and it was very, very satisfying. She could have become a quintessential self-insert for the type of storylines that we've been seeing lately out of the woke white ladies in Hollywood. But she played this part so well. It was so well written. Again, my wife and I, Janet and I, were engaged the entire way. And we didn't roll our eyes once. There's hope on the horizon. Maybe, just maybe, Hollywood's starting to get it just a little bit. And they're starting to learn. They're like Bill Murray. Maybe they've decided to take up piano and learn from day one. And sometime in the future, after we've gone through another round of Groundhog Days, maybe we'll get out of the cycle. But I don't know. I'm the type of guy who takes his weather forecast from Underground Rodents, so what do I know? So let me know what you think. What do you think of this video? What do you think about my concept? What do you think about the Groundhog Day we're living in? And hey, check out the English and tell me what you think about that miniseries on Amazon Prime. In the meantime, be sure to like, subscribe, and share for more videos just like this one. All right, well, that's all for today. Goodbye, God bless, and we'll see you in another video.